Welcome to the Getting Battle Ready podcast, where we take you from zero to mid-table hero. I'm Chaos Jake, and these are my friends and co-hosts.
Guard Jake.
Death Guard John.
Join us as we get you and your army battle ready.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the second full episode of the Getting Battle Ready podcast. Unfortunately, our good dear friend, Death Guard John, was out wrestling alligators at the Waffle House, so he's a little tied up and won't be able to join us.
That's what happens when you don't tip well.
That's it. Listen,
Send the alligators on you at Waffle House if you guys didn't know that.
They don't mess around at the Waffle House. But yeah, so we have an awesome episode for you guys today. One of our contestants here had a wonderful time going to the one, the only LVO.
Yeah, it was a really good time, and I'm looking forward to sharing all the goodies, the good, the bad, and the ugly of playing at LVO. And we'll go over my list and some of the competition that I've faced and things that you'll see if you've ever been curious about going to LVO yourself. It's definitely been an experience.
Yeah, it's for all those that have always kind of been curious about it, wanted to go. We're going to go over that, whether or not it's worth it. And, hopefully if everything goes well, maybe, just maybe, we all may go next year.
Yeah, man, I would really like that. I think it'd be a lot of fun. And like I said, we'll get into it here towards the latter half of our show. But to get things started, as we always do, you had sent John and I some pictures of some stuff that you've been working on in our group chat. So why don't you tell everyone what you've been working on this week?
Yeah, no. So what I've been hobbying on this week, as everybody knows, I play not Death Guard.
No, you don't play Death Guard.
I don't. They're terrible. Don't play them. I've been playing Imperial Guard. That's my go-to army, and we're getting ready for a little local tournament here. And one of the things that I've been kind of procrastinating on because I haven't really, it's a pride issue that I don't feel that I'm good enough to paint them yet, but I finally decided, screw it, I need to get it done. And I started painting my Gaunt's Ghosts.
Yeah, man, they looked incredible. Which one was the one that you sent us? You know me, I'm not great with names.
Nah, you're good, man. So I just finished up Colin Corbeck, who is in the book series, he's the colonel. Mm-hmm. When the Tanith was first formed after the destruction of the Tanith homeworld. He was promoted, and then as you read the 18 books that are in there, you fall in love with them. I'm not going to spoil what happens to him. It's heartbreaking. It sucks. But, read and figure it out. He's in 12 books, so go from there.
All right. Yeah. So they looked great, though. The camo you did was great, and the skin tone looked really good, too.
Oh, yeah, that skin tone.
Came out well.
Yeah, so the Tanith, the way that they're described, they're basically Scotsmen, but they're very pale. So I started with a Cadian flesh tone instead of going with like Bugbear or a different type, a darker skin tone, and went up from there. I used Gilliman flesh as a wash instead of using the Reichland flesh shade or something like that. So I used that to get inside for the detail work, and then started going up from there all the way up to Flayed One flesh, and the musculature came out fantastic. I was thoroughly happy on how he came out.
Yeah, man, they looked great. I was super happy. And then you worked on Ursula, right? That was the other one you got done?
The other thing that I finally broke down and did was paint Ursula Creed.
It's about time. You've been playing that thing primed for like 2 months.
Dude, it was longer than that. I played her Gray Shame I played her Gray Shame since the Open, and then I had her primed, and then I just finally painted her because I got tired of looking at her Gray Shameness.
I get it, yeah. But she turned out great.
Yep. Have you been hobbying on anything?
So I was panic painting for a couple weeks trying to get things ready for LVO. So a little bit before we get too much in the story, I was not originally planning to go to LVO, and I just had an opportunity to fall in my lap to be able to go. And I needed to finish up a couple of things, so I was all purple and silver.
Yeah,
for it.
He basically won the lottery on going, hence the contestants.
Yes. And so I finished up, I finished up my last Obliterator, and then I converted 2 Chaos Lords because of the conversion policy. I missed the cutoff date for conversions because of the last minute sign up. Mm-hmm. So I bought some new models and built them and converted them to make them look as close as I possibly could to Chaos Lords.
It was actually pretty impressive. He took a Age of Sigmar Chaos Lord, which is technically a Chaos Lord.
It's technically a GW Chaos Lord.
That's it. Hey, listen, and that's all that mattered.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh no, you're good. And they came out that you couldn't have told.
Yeah, I was really happy with how they turned out. So I got those done, and then I started working on my my converted cultists.
Mm-hmm.
I did not want to take my Black Legion cultists with me, so I got to building and I got to priming and I got them battle ready.
That's all we need.
They are not finished yet, but the purple was on it, the highlights were on it. They all have white hair. The guns were done. The bases are finished. It's now just picking out all of the small details to really make them look the way I want.
Mm-hmm.
But if anyone is knowledgeable in the rest of GW games, I chose the Escher gang to turn into cultists from Necromunda because they give off like sisters vibes, and I thought it would be really cool to make them look like fallen sisters.
Yeah, and that heavy Slanesh feel to them as well.
Right, yeah, they've got whips and stilettos and spiky bits.
Everything Slanesh loves.
Right, yeah, everything you could ask for. So I did those, and I think that's all I really hobbied getting ready for LVO. And then last night, I sent you guys some pictures. I started building my Fulgrim from the Horus Heresy. It's not the big guy, not the Ascended, but
no. We
the Primarch.
Yeah, we only deal with the proper.
Right, until I get my plastic one, you won't won't hear me say anything.
That's it. They'll come one day.
It will, hopefully, maybe. But I'm very excited. I'm going to be using him as my my Abaddon Countess for my Emperor's Children.
It's going to look sweet,
and it's a big model.
Yeah, when I've got a Gilliman Horus Heresy, and it's bigger than you think.
Yeah, that
especially
base
with the full base.
Yeah, that full base is something. The only thing I was a little bummed about when I was building it, this is a minor inconvenience. If you want to
dealing
use
with resin,
whatever, Forge World resin is what it is.
Yeah,
I wanted the model. I'm not going to complain.
That's it.
But if you want to use the scenic base for them, you have to forego the 40 millimeter base to use if you want to use them like just as a Chaos Lord.
So they're meant to be magnetized. So that way you can unmagnetize them and magnetize them because it fits in.
Right, yeah, it fit in, but the piece of the scenic base, the way that it's made, you can't hook it out.
Oh yeah, no, and that's the thing is that you gotta.
Yeah, I would have to have like drilled into the resin
and then you gotta put your magnets, and then you gotta go through and cut the pieces. Yeah,
I'm not cutting into questionable resin.
Yeah,
I'll just keep my 60 millimeter base. I mean, I'm not going to use the Fulcrum model as a Chaos Lord anyways.
Yeah, no, that's true. And the biggest thing is I mean, we play 40K. We don't really delve into Horus Heresy. And even if you did, it's going to be a friendly game to where you're like, hey, I know this is supposed to be on this base. Do you care? 9 times out of 10, the people in our play group are going to be like, nah, dude, rock and roll. Yeah,
they're fine with it. I think that's pretty much everything that I've been hobbying on recently. Because I did take, like I said, a little bit of a break before I had to like mass paint for LVO.
Yeah.
But it's nice to be getting back into it, and hopefully today the humidity will stay down so I can prime everything up.
It is humidity out.
I do have like an airbrush that I can airbrush prime with, but
you guys
it's loud and the dog's not a fan.
Yeah, no.
The wife's not a fan. Like it's just
loud, and I don't know how John uses it and not gets away with it.
I think his thing is he has like one of those smaller, like it's not silent, but it's like it's very small compared to like a big 3-gallon.
Yeah, no, that is true. His is pretty small, and he's tucked away in that back bedroom too, so not everybody can hear it. But it is what it is.
But it is what it is. But yeah, that's pretty much what we've been hobbying on. So we're gonna go into a new segment now, though.
Yeah, this is a Jake on Jake friendly competition that we're coming up with. We're gonna save the hot takes for when all three of us is here. So this is just gonna be for me and him. as a way to test our 40K knowledge.
Yes. And so the name of this new segment is called What's That Data Sheet? If you would like to play along, absolutely do. It will be a good time. Basically, each of us are going to pick a data sheet. So this week I am picking a data sheet for Jake. And what he'll try to do is he can ask me 5 questions about the data sheet. And obviously excluding some of the obvious, like what's the name of the data sheet, things like that. It'll be more broad questions. And then after his 5 questions, he'll get 3 tries to guess what the data sheet is and see if he gets it right. And if he does, we'll be keeping a tally. And then at the end of the year, whoever has the most, I don't know, we'll do something fun.
Yeah.
As an award.
Somebody have to pay somebody a model or something.
Yeah, something like that. So this week I'm doing one for Jake, and then the next time Jake will do one for me. All right. So let's do.
Coming up with a good one.
Yeah, I wanna do something. You got to be careful choosing some of them though, so because they'll just give it away.
Oh, dude, I'm dumb as hell, so it should be pretty easy. So punk me on it.
All right, so we'll do this one. This one feels good. My brother and I were testing it at LVO for the podcast, and it worked really well. So I'm going to use this one because I really like this one.
All right. So the first obvious question: Imperium, Chaos, or Xenos?
This is a Xenos model.
Oh shit, I don't know Xenos. So next question: Necron, Tyranid, Tau, or Orc?
So when we tested it, this is not a question you can use. You have to, yeah. Because
all right.
This narrows it too much. You have to use.
I got to use my 6 senses. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So then
you still have 4 questions.
Okay. So all right. So we'll ignore that question. Okay. Is it bipedal or quadrupedal?
This is a bipedal model.
All right. So that only rules out 90.
It only rules out gigantic Tyranids.
Yeah, pretty much. Okay. Let me think. So that's 2 questions.
And if you have questions about what questions you can ask until we really get it going,
it's okay. It's fine.
just let me know and I'll gladly explain.
Is it a character, battle line, or other?
It is a character.
Okay.
So 2 questions.
Yep. Okay. Is it a epic hero?
It is an epic hero.
Okay. What is the name of a weapon that it uses?
All right, this is for all the marbles. Its name is Fidelity.
Son of a bitch! You told me her name, and I cannot remember it as a Tau model. It's Shay. I can see her face, and it's driving me crazy. Chun-Li?
No, you're close.
I know, man. It is on the tip of my tongue. It is because it's not far. So this is a Tau model. It's primarily a melee Tau model, if I recall.
Mm-hmm.
She also Fidelity is a sword that she uses, and it is right there, and I can picture that damn model. Shanti.
One more guess. You're so close, man.
Share.
I'm going to give it to you. But its name is An-Shi.
An-Shi, son of a bitch.
I knew that if you asked the melee weapon, you would probably get it. But yeah, so An-Shi, quick little recap about An-Shi. It is an epic hero for Tau. And the things that I found interesting about it is its abilities, which you didn't ask for a data sheet ability, which was crazy to me. But it has 2. It has Inspirational Defiance, which is add 1 to the OC of models in the unit that it's leading. And then it has Martial Warrior. And it's each time this model is selected to fight, select one of the following abilities to be active while resolving those attacks. It allows you to either have precision, devastating wounds, or sustained hits 2 while in combat with Fidelity.
Ooh, nice.
So, yeah, man. So we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back with the start of our LVO segment.
Yep, it's going to be all about Jake's list, what he liked, what he didn't like, and what things worked and what didn't. So we'll see you when we come back. Welcome back. Alrighty, so in this segment, we're going to be going over Chaos Drake's list. We're going to be talking about the mainstream meta Chaos list for your faction, and then some of the things that you chose and what you thought was better, what was worse, how the list performed, and then once we're done with this, the segment after this, we're going to be going over all your matches and what you liked about the match, what you didn't like, and more importantly, whether you won or lost. And then we'll talk about your favorite match, which you thought was the best.
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess to kick things off, so the if I remember correctly, like looking at lists, the top placing Chaos Space Marine list was running 3 Chaos Lords, 3 Dark Communes, I think a 10-man of Chosen and 2 5-mans of Chosen, and then 3 big blocks of Accursed Cultists, and then 2 Forge Fiends and a unit of Nurglings. That was the list that performed well, and rightfully so. It's just a very powerful in-your-face list. Mm-hmm. There might have been some rhinos. I don't remember. I'm pretty sure he had 1 or 2 rhinos.
Yeah, there were a few rhinos on some of the lists I saw. I hear that Space Marines didn't do too good because of the player-placed terrain.
Yeah, there was
player. Did you suffer because of that?
Yeah, player place was hard, but I think it was because of a lack of knowledge, because it adds another layer to the game. Mm-hmm. So when you're playing against people that understand how player placed works, they get, I don't want to say an upper hand, but just my lack of knowledge. A couple of my matches, I had an upfield battle. But I wouldn't say that really like deterred me from any of the games. I still had a really great time. I would like to see them move to Leviathan maybe next year.
I've heard that from a lot of different sources that I've been listening to and stuff. But the big thing is out west out there, because we're, as you've come to realize, we're kind of based in Florida here. But out west, player plays terrain, like that's how you play. While here on the east side, we really like UTC.
Right, yeah. And they announced it at LVO that GW will be taking over the ITC.
Oh, really?
Means, yes. So there is potential maybe to see a more formatted,
that'd be nice,
terrain, whether it be, right now we're living in Leviathan, but they could change it and it could change how the boards work. But if we have one source putting out a constant board, I think that would be better.
It heightens, not, how am I trying to say this? It focuses more on gameplay instead of, I don't want to say gotcha moments because it's not gotcha, but you might be a good player, but become a great player because you know how to place your terrain, compared to somebody that practices on the same terrain, knows that terrain in or out, knows how to play around it, and it allows you that ability to play to the peak of your ability. While if you played in player place, you're not necessarily able to really perform at your best.
Right. And the other big thing with player placed, it was also difficult, certain models struggle to move through certain gaps that you can make. So there were just little things. And like I said, it was like a lack of knowledge of how it works. So that's like my one hope is maybe we go to some more standardized terrain, because the other frustrating parts were that not every board had the same kind of terrain for the player placed. So some boards were more advantageous with their ruins than others. So like more models could hide in a ruin, where some maps, it was just big chunky cubes that you couldn't walk through or interact with. It was basically just a big piece of blocking terrain, line of sight blocking. So that's my only real like hope for that, is that maybe we'll move to more standardized board tables and things like that. Mm-hmm. But if not, we have a year to practice.
That's it. And
that's all you can do.
One of those things that we can start working towards it. And if we manage to go next year, then we'll be that much better and prepared for it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So let's talk about your list. So we heard the meta list. So what do you not like about the meta list, or what do you think that it suffers from compared to what you put in your list that you think overcomes some of the obstacles at the main meta list?
Yeah. So the big thing that is different for my list from the top performing list is that I don't run any accursed cultists or dark communes. One of the main reasons I didn't own any accursed cultists or dark communes.
I mean, money is a very much a contributing factor.
They also, it was one of those data sheets when I looked at them initially that I didn't think that they were that good.
Gotcha.
But as I started to see how they performed, and like I've said many times on here, and we'll have to get him on sometime, my brother also plays very competitively.
Yes.
And him and I talked openly about it at the LVO about how powerful the accursed cultists were. And so now I'm starting to realize why so many people are running them. They're hard to kill. They're very strong in combat, and they keep reviving themselves.
Could you have run the cultists that you made as proxies for that if you would have gotten it submitted in time?
No, probably not, because there's accursed cultists and then there's the cultist mob.
Gotcha.
And so mine are the cultist mob. The accursed cultists are these like mutated kind of demonic looking cultists. And then they have the bigger bases that are, I believe, 40s. And those are the torments.
Gotcha.
And they're like, you know, they have like giant wings and demonic heads and stuff coming out of them. So they're more, I see a lot of people that do not play CSM. They use those torments as, they use them as beasts.
Gotcha.
And so, that's kind of like where I've seen some of them, but that was the big thing that was different from my list from them was no dark communes and stuff like that.
That's fair.
But if we want to go ahead and get into the list, I'll start with...
Yeah, let's talk about your list.
Yeah, so I'll start with the characters that I ran. I ran 3 characters in my list. I ran a Chaos Lord on foot. That was the Mark of Corn.
That thing's, lack of a better term, that model fucks.
It does use the Talisman of Burning Blood enhancement. And so I won't like super deep dive into everything, but basically what
you can
does,
obviously if you... the chaos list, you can go on to the Warhammer app and you can look it up and you can see what all this stuff does. It's not locked behind the paywall yet because their codex hasn't come out. So if you are loading that and you're like, what exactly is that? By all means, hop on the Warhammer app, pull up the Chaos Space Marine CSM, and then you'll be able to read what everything does. Yeah, so briefly, like I'll go over, I only run 2 enhancements, so I'll say what they do. The Talisman of Burning Blood, basically when that unit dark packs, I get to add D3 to the strength and attack characteristic of the attack for the Chaos Lord. And he just is just a big hammer. Very scary in combat. And especially being Mark of Corn.
Right, the Mark of Corn 5-up lethal hits. Then the next one I ran was the Chaos Lord that was Chaos Undivided. I did not give him an enhancement. He's just there to help me do actions, and he triggers for free CP with his chosen unit.
Yep.
Free rerolls to hit and wound.
Yeah, especially having the plasma pistol in his hand. So an engagement, if you're engaged into a unit, so you get into combat and you get melee and you start beating face. Let's say you deploy teleport homers and you have him in the middle center of the map. He's got a pistol. You can shoot in combat with a pistol, so it allows you to be able to deploy and still engage in combat. Right.
And then my last one, this was one of the tech pieces that I guess I would consider it a tech piece. There's not a lot of people running this. I ran a Demon Prince with wings. That was the Mark of Slanesh with the Intoxicating Elixir.
That thing is so strong. It's so strong.
This piece is really just meant to run around the board and support things. I'll go over briefly like what it does. So it gets 5-up sustained hits in combat from the Mark of Slanesh. Whenever it charges, it rolls a d6 equal to the amount of wounds it has remaining. And for every 4-up, you take a mortal wound to a maximum of 6 mortal wounds. Then the Intoxicating Elixir, it gives it a 5-up feel no pain. And after every time I fight you, you must take a battle shock test. And then the winged part of the Demon Prince, if I fly over a unit, they have to take a battle shock test. And being Mark of Slanesh, I made it movement 14.
Yeah, so basically it can skirt around the board, battle shocking anything it can. I mean, just imagine, so you roll up on it, on an objective in the center of the board. You hop on the objective, you tank shock, essentially. You kill off half the units, and then you force an immediate battle shock. Guess what? They just lost an objective.
Yep, there was a lot of play in it. One of the big things that I tried to do, because we were in player placed, is if I could get an objective marker underneath a piece of terrain, I would just fly the Demon Prince over and hold it, because not a lot of stuff is going to just pick the Demon Prince up. And if I'm hiding behind the terrain feature, that means they have to come around to get to me.
Yeah, and it's basically just like, figure it out.
Yeah,
what are you doing?
It's pretty tough. So I ran, those are my 3 characters.
Okay.
I only had 1 battle line unit, just a 10-man unit of cultists with the Mark of Nurgle.
What was their job?
Their job, so they have sticky objective is their ability.
Oh, nice.
So what I do is start the game with them on the home objective. So it's stickies so that they can start moving immediately. They're almost always advancing, trying to sticky more objectives. And Mark of Chaos is Nurgle, and that is for the Nurgle strat that says if you're outside of 12 inches, you cannot target them with an attack for the turn. So
yeah, it's actually really, really gross. When we've done our practice games and everything like that, we've had where I would target him with my indirect, and he goes, "That's cool, Mark a Nurgle," and I'll be like, "Yeah, that feels real good."
And so that's just their whole job is to run around, sit on objectives, make them sticky, and keep pushing elsewhere, and then just going from there.
Did you have anybody try to target them with indirect and able to Nurgle strat them?
Yes. I played against Eldari one game.
Gotcha.
And I was able to Nurgle strat them to help me.
How'd that feel?
Triple Night Spinner wasn't great, but we'll get into that later. Yeah. My transports, I ran 2 rhinos, both also Mark of Nurgle, for the same reason as the cultists. It just really brings up the survivability of the Chosen that were embarked in there. The bulk of my army were in the other data sheets.
Yeah.
I ran
So this is the meat and potatoes of the army?
Yes. I ran a 5-man unit of Chosen Mark, Chaos Undivided.
What does the Mark of Undivided do?
So what the Mark does is it lets you reroll 1s to hit.
Okay.
And then on top of that, you still get your sustained or lethal hits for Dark Pacting. You just get them on a 6 instead of getting the bonus of the 5-up for being specified into a mark.
So what happens if I roll a 6 and you get the sustained? How does that work, being undivided?
So how it works, so like if I was in combat and I chose lethal hits, instead of like my Mark of Corn unit that gets lethal hits on 5-ups, I get them on 6s. But in addition, I also get to reroll all 1s to hit. So
it just increases the ability. So just trying to fish for them 6s as best you can.
Yeah, the trade-off is that you get to fish for the 6s versus getting it on 5s and 6s.
Gotcha.
But the other big thing that makes this unit so good is that for 1 CP or with the Chaos Lord, it's 0 CP, you can give that unit full rerolls to hit and wound.
Gotcha.
Not hits of 1 or wounds of 1. It's both full out for 1 CP.
That seems good.
It's very good. And it's also loaded up with all of the extra weapons because they're free this edition. So, we've got the Power Fist. We've got the pair of accursed weapons.
Those of you that played at 9th know all about having to pay for each one of those damn weapons.
The Chaos Icon gives them reroll on their leadership checks for Dark Packs.
Oh, that's nice.
So,
is that a specific tech, or is that pretty much the standard for it?
Anybody that can take the Chaos Icon is going to take it because you're always going to want to reroll in case you fail.
No, that's fair.
My next unit was a 10-man unit of Chosen. These were Mark of Corn.
Is it that thick brick?
Yes, obviously to correspond with the Chaos Lord Mark of Corn. This gives them 5-up lethal hits in combat. Also kitted out with all the stuff, 2 Power Fists, 2 sets of accursed weapons, some plasma pistols. And then the big thing here is 4 combi weapons. Combi weapons in the army are hit on 4s, but anti-infantry 4-up devastating wounds with rapid fire 1.
Wow.
So, you jump out of the Rhino, try to pop some devastating wounds on the way in, and then you try to finish up what's left with a big charge.
Yeah. Did you get to use that anti-infantry a lot in your matches? Did they seem to? Well, I guess I should ask is did the combi weapons seem to really hold their own in that list, or did you wish that you took something else?
No, they did their job. I'm all about the combi weapons, so they don't hit on 3s like the bolt gun does, but the anti-infantry devastating wounds is just so much better in the long run.
Oh yeah.
Easily was taking care of small units, like MSU units or
they chew through guard. I know that much.
The other big thing too is that I don't do it too often, but you could Dark Pact during the shooting phase with them, so then you're getting sustained hits on 6s because they're Mark of Corn, so you're going to get sustained hits on 6s on those devastating on top.
Oh, wow.
So like there's potential to really do some big damage with a couple of 6s in the way.
Oh, for sure.
But yeah, their whole bit, both units of Chosen, is to go up, try to hold the mid board, and then make a push into the things that are, I guess, that have the potential to take care of your units.
Gotcha. Were they what? Would you feel that the 10-man Break of Corn was the MVP of your list? We know who the real MVP is, but we'll get with that later.
Yeah, yes and no. So on matches that I won, they tend to really show up big for me.
Mm-hmm.
And matches that I couldn't hold on to, typically that was because they couldn't get involved in the way that they needed to before they were gone.
Gotcha. Did the rhinos really make them as survivable as you hope, or did you find it lacking?
No. They definitely do their job.
Okay.
The only time that they ever feel bad is that sometimes you're just using the rhino to get the extra 3 inches on that movement on the top or bottom of 1.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're holding them in there till 2, it's a really good way to keep them,
keep them all safe
until they're ready to run.
Gotcha.
The next part of my list, and everyone's running them. I ran 2 Forge Fiends, 1 Mark of Nurgle, 1 Chaos Undivided. The Mark of Nurgle, also, I don't think I mentioned this earlier, when you do your Dark Pact, you get sustained hits on a 5-up. So it just makes that Forge Fiend so much more scary.
Oh, yeah.
3d3 plus blast from each weapon. So I never ran into anything more than 10 in my matchups. But 3d3 plus 6 shots, strength 10, AP 3 damage is just good.
Yeah, especially against your big, whether it be Space Marine, Terminator bricks, anything running more than that. It's just every failed save, it's save or die.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And so it's just very powerful. They do not get a chaos icon, so they just
get what you get.
Get what you get. So that was okay. It does its job. It's definitely more for softening units than it is to just completely delete units, if that makes sense.
Now, the one thing that I did not, no, that makes perfect sense, but I noticed in a lot of our games, I believe you had one of the Forge Fiends as Mark of Slanesh. Did you change that, or am I thinking of something else?
I think you're thinking of something else, because Slanesh gets 5-up sustained hits in combat.
Gotcha. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
I have toyed around with Slanesh Possessed.
That was it.
So that's probably what it was, but I just didn't play them in this game. My next Forge Fiend was Undivided, and this is the one that gets real scary. This is what a lot of people are scared of. Again, 1 CP, full rerolls to hit and wound on it. And then if you want, you can opt in to Hazardous and Devastating Wounds. And this actually was relevant in one of my matchups, and we'll talk about it later.
Yep.
It's a very good... That is just a data sheet ability. You don't even have to spend a CP to get the Devastating and Hazardous. But the full rerolls to let you fish for the Devastating is pretty big.
Gotcha.
Next, I had 2 units of Obliterators. I'm always been a huge fan of Obliterators. Anybody that I've played against, you can ask. I run them all the time.
Oh yeah, let me tell you from experience, they have Deep Strike. It sucks when they get in your backfield.
They're very powerful. But like I said, like this, I was surprised not a lot of people were running them. I don't know if it's because they were using the communes and the accursed cultists to just push up the board as fast as they could.
How many more points is the occulted cultists?
Accursed cultists?
Whatever.
Yeah.
Compared to the cultist mob?
They're significantly more expensive, but you also get way more models.
Oh, okay.
So the big thing, like with accursed cultists, is they get a once per turn or once per battle advance in charge.
Gotcha.
And then they also get like a mark, and then the Dark Commune helps them. I think they once per battle can give them +1 to hit, +1 to wound. And then on top of that, they get a 5-up feel no pain. I think it's no. They get a 5-up invul save and a 6-up feel no pain.
Gotcha. So they're way more survivable.
Yes. So they're fast and survivable, and it makes the torments. Their strength 5, AP 1, 2 damage in combat. So when they get the +1 to wound, they're wounding most infantry on 2s.
Gotcha. So it's just a factor of they may have been trying to play him, but just didn't have the points for a set of obliterators.
Oh, I'm sure they're using it just to try to. I would imagine that list is built like in phases. So like you push the accursed cultists up, they take care of it. The chosen come up and finish what's left.
Gotcha.
My choice, the reason I chose the obliterators was because I felt like I needed a hammer. I don't always trust the Forge Fiends to punch up. Just being strength 10, there's a lot of tank lists right now.
It's
game
hard.
Is very vehicle heavy at the moment. They're strength 12, which means like big stuff like Dorns or big knights. You're wounding on 4s, but I'll take the wounding on 4s instead of 5s any day. And then they also they have 3 different shooting profiles, so there's a little play there. And they're 2 up armor save, 5 up invul save, T7, so they're not bad.
No, I mean they're going to hold their own. I mean, obviously against anti-tank they won't, but still.
I chose again 1 Nurgle, 1 Undivided. I played the Undivided in the not so much for the stratagem, but for the reroll of 1s to hit. And
Gotcha.
I don't know if it really made a big difference this weekend, and I've kind of noticed that a lot lately. I think that maybe going forward, I would consider playing one of them, Mark of Tzeentch, which gives them lethal hits on 5-ups in the shooting phase. So it eliminates especially on the big gunshots, it
makes it more reliable.
More reliable into things that I need them to wound.
Gotcha.
So maybe something there. I was not super impressed with the Undivided Obliterators, but
we'll have to next time you and me play, we'll have to definitely try that out and see how it does.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm looking at a couple different things I want to change. I'm really just waiting for the data slate.
Yeah, and we'll have a special podcast on that coming out whenever it drops. It's Thursday today. Hopefully, it may drop today. May not.
I saw like some rumors floating around that the reason it didn't come out today was because of like some translation errors.
Gotcha.
So
maybe tomorrow?
I think maybe tomorrow. I think technically one of the last days of the month is
Wednesday.
Is it Wednesday?
Yeah, last day of the month.
They could push
Wednesday.
it if they want it. I guess they could drop it February 1st.
Gotcha. But yeah, so far, Obliterators, good. So the list as a whole seems to be pretty solid. I've played against it a lot. It is a very solid list, very reliable. It punches up pretty well. It punches down fantastic. And essentially, it does everything that you want to. Now, we do have a couple ally units that you brought in.
Yeah, I'll go over the ones that are more commonly seen, and then we'll go over, this is what most of the people at the event considered this the MVP of my army.
That's why I said the true MVP.
I think it was more of an aesthetic thing. But so we'll go over the easy ones. I ran 2 3-man units of Nurglings.
Obviously, every Chaos list.
Unless you're Thousand Sons or World Eaters, you're taking at least 2 units of Nurglings. They're just 35 points, Infiltrator, Deep Strike.
They do what you want them to do.
They go and do your actions. Yep, they're just fantastic. So there's no real discussion about them. They're just good.
Yeah.
Then the next one I took was the Blue Scribes. This one it's like a 50-50.
Gotcha. Save or suck.
About how you use them. Very good 12-inch movement. Screens your back objective for you. If you get too close to it, it can do mortal wounds. And it showed up big for me in a couple of
it did one
fights. 2 matches actually. So I'm very excited to talk about those. And then, like I said, 12-inch movement. So like if it needs, like if you're in a pinch, you're low on models, it can move into position to do a secondary for you.
That's good.
Because you sticky that home objective. And so if you need it, you can push him somewhere else if you need, which did happen, which was cool. And then the one that everyone loved that I brought, and he was great. He did what he was supposed to do. I played a great unclean one.
Such an awesome model.
T12, 20 wounds, 4 up invul save, 6 up feel no pain. I had 2 matches where he just folded like a rubber duck.
He's fleshy.
It just those 2 matches in particular, they just had the answer.
And that's, I mean, if they have the answer, there's not much you can do.
There's nothing to do, but he was a great roadblock into those matches. Even after losing him early, he still, tanked a lot of stuff for me. And in the matches that I won, he played real well into holding up things, or even just looking at him on the board. People are like, I don't know how to approach this. And
he just is like, all right, well, I guess I'm just dealing with this now.
Yeah. And so he was really great. If I had to pick an MVP on the whole weekend,
yep,
I would be hard pressed to not pick the Blue Scribes because of what they did in a couple of games.
From what you told me, I would say the Blue Scribes or
the 10 Brick of Chosen. They just
with that just thick
Chaos
Lord. He just I've had that damn thing pick up so many tanks of mine just by himself.
And I don't know if I went over it yet, but I ended up going 3-3.
Keep in mind, everybody, that this LVO is the world's largest. This is where all the competitive teams come to. I mean, you get your baby seals that you're going to club, but if it is one of those things to where in the first 6 matches, you are going to either be playing the world's best, the world's worst, or what we strive for, the terror of the mid-tables.
And that's exactly where it ended. I think last time I looked, my final ranking was like 302nd out of 1,100.
That's fantastic.
So I'm right there in the middle, but I'm on the upper half.
And that's what we strive for.
And so, but it was a great time. And I'll go over like my scores and stuff once we get into it. But
yeah, we'll go over that, all the scores. We're going to go over each individual match. Like I said, we're going to touch it. Some of the matches we may not spend a lot of time on. There's a couple that were just true MVP matches that we definitely want to spend some time. But all in all, if you had the choice to change anything on the list or run the list again, what would you do?
Only big change I saw was the Obliterators into Zinch, potentially.
Of the models that you do own, I think your list is fantastic.
It plays a very different game than the competitive list, but this is the one thing I do love about 40K is that if you build a list, you have a game plan, you understand how it works, you will find success with it. Yeah,
and I've said it since I've started playing 40K. One of the things that I love about it is 40K is one of those things that you don't necessarily have to outplay your opponent, but you just have to outknow your opponent. If you know your list better than they do, you're probably going to find success. And by that, it's just repetition of playing the same list over and over and over.
Yeah, and I think we're going to take a quick break then, and we'll come back and we will start going over the different games and what I faced, what I expected, and then I think our final segment will just be going over what I saw at LVO and some little tidbits of advice if you're looking to go yourself.
Perfect. All right. We'll see you in a bit. All right, everybody, and welcome back. So in this segment, we're going to be going over all the different lists that you played against, all your games that you played, whether or not you won, whether or not you lost, and just your overall take of the army that you played against and the opponent in general. So let's start it off. Game 1.
All right, let me make sure I pull everything. All right, so game 1 was against Orcs.
Orcs.
I did win this game. I won 100-87.
Ooh, scored a perfect 100?
Yeah, it was a good game for me. I got some really good rolls. And also, I think my opponent underestimated the power of the Forge Fiends.
Gotcha.
In this fight, which helped me secure an early victory, or an early lead, I should say.
Okay.
And I was just kind of able to run away with it after a couple of things that happened to go my way. The opponent was great. Their list was a bunch of trucks and boys and some flash kits. Yeah, Gaz was there.
How was he to fight against? I hear he's a pain in the game.
So I actually was able to limit Gaskell and what he did.
Really?
He underestimated how powerful Gaskell is.
Gotcha.
I threw the Great Unclean One onto the middle objective.
Oh, and it was just like, come and take it?
Yeah, so like he was trying to move him through the building. And so because of where he ended, when he would move out of the building, it would basically just put him right on the edge. Mm-hmm. So I just kept kind of screening and was like, if you want to get through, you're going to have to get through the Great Unclean One. And I wasn't going to charge him because I knew Gaz was tough. So it made him hesitate, which bought me time to move my things up the board.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
because orcs are pretty quick.
They're quick and they're pretty strong.
The fight on death,
Yeah, they had a fight on death. They had, in their list, they had some WA banners, which lets them extend their WA an additional turns for units that have it. So that was kind of big. Like I said, lots of trucks.
Yep.
But
a battle wagon.
The battle wagon. But because of being able to pick up so many units, he didn't really get to do there's like a strat where you can like slam an exploding truck into something and then like blows up and then the boys are just chilling right in front of your unit.
Gotcha.
I can't remember what the name of the stratagem is right now, but because of being able to eliminate things that I needed, he then had to use them more as like action monkeys.
Gotcha.
Instead. They do have a cool little trick though. They've got like a wrecking ball on their data sheet that's like does D6 damage if it goes through.
That's gross.
That you definitely would not expect from.
And it's the Kareen.
That's what it is. Yes.
For 1 CP.
So that was just a big turn for me. The big solidifying factor was scoring. Pretty much maxed primaries.
Oh, nice.
The entire game. And then I think I missed capture enemy outpost turn 1.
Gotcha. What was your secondaries that you pulled? So in case you guys didn't know, he did play tactical. He didn't play fixed on his lists. So
yeah, I played tactical in every matchup. And the secondaries I got were capture enemy outpost and attempting target turn 1, defend stronghold, extend, assassinate, investigate, storm hostile and cleanse, deploy and engage.
How did you got deploy? What was the first two?
The first two was attempting target and capture enemy outpost.
How'd you get capture? Did you get it or did
No, that was the only one that I missed. That is just one of those secondaries that
just feels bad.
I personally feel like it's not one that you should be able to do turn 1. I know that there are armies that can do it and there are ways to do it, but I feel like most armies,
you just get it. It's a dead secondary.
It's a dead secondary on turn 1 because you can't move 24 plus inches
unless you're angry. But
I mean, like I said, there are a few that can do it, but you also have to hold it.
Yeah,
like you could get there and then not hold it. So there's some little things like that. But overall, the match went well for me. This army was mostly 3D printed, which I thought was interesting.
What was the theme?
It was pirate themed.
Oh,
so like all the boys had like swashbuckler like clothes on. They all, instead of having like their regular guns, they all had like flintlock pistols and muskets and things like that.
I would in a terrible orc voice try to do a pirate thing, but it wouldn't end well.
They also had their let me look at, I can't remember the name of their HQs.
They had Gaskell, Captain
Badruck.
Badruck, yeah.
So Captain Badruck looks like a pirate, which was cool. The Mazrog, though, he had, instead of it being a big, like the big squig that he's on, it was a 3D printed squig shark. So like it had like the squig legs, but it had like a shark tail and it had a shark mouth.
Oh, what is
with a big dorsal fin on it.
Gotcha.
So like that was really cool. A lot of the other stuff, the war bosses, they all were, if they weren't, I don't think they were fully 3D printed, but like he had pirates hats on them and made them all look like pirate captains and things like that.
Gotcha. Was it painted good or did it look like 3D printed?
No. It was everything. Well, so you have to be painted to a little bit higher standard for LVO than Battle Ready. So everything was painted well, which was really cool because that's our favorite part of the hobby.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But his trucks, they were boats that were 3D printed that had water. Like it was like they were like breaking through water on the sides, which was really cool. The battle wagon was just a battle wagon.
Yeah.
The Gretchen were just Gretchen, but they had like a dude with them. And what's he called? The leader of the Gretchen. He looked like a pirate captain, which was kind of cool.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So it was a good game. You know,
nice, interesting list. They took pride and made sure everything would look cool. And
great, like I said, great opponent.
That's one of the things. So I have a love and hate relationship for 3D printed models in competitive setting. The issue is you really can't get the sizing right. So it could give you maybe not necessarily an unfair advantage, but it could give you an advantage to one player or the other, depending on how it goes. But you can do some really cool stuff, and if it's done right and the TO approves of it, then have at it.
Yeah,
but
I like
all my kit bashes I've done primarily with GW parts. So like my Steel Legion, they're all Krieg. I've sanded them down. My Cadian Castellan, he's kit bashed as a Krieger and stuff like that. So, I mean, it's cool. I like using bits. When I had my old Tanith army that I had before I got rid of it, I ended up having Victoria miniatures, the capes. I use those, so I'm all for bits and stuff like that. But as long as it's done right, have at it.
Yeah, I don't really have too many problems with 3D prints as long as they're not like egregiously different,
oversized.
Yeah. But yeah, no real grievances.
Was a good player.
Yeah, he was a great guy, great opponent. I'm gonna redact all the names.
No, please don't put any names on there.
But yeah, it was a great way to start LVO.
Awesome.
Big win. But then we get to game 2. The game that I played against was Leagues of Votan.
Nice.
This was against one of the captains of Vanguard Tactics, which was really cool to get to play someone of that caliber.
Oh wow! So how would you rate this game?
This was probably my favorite game of the weekend. He was a great opponent, incredibly knowledgeable. No gotchas. You know, if I didn't quite understand how a rule was going to interact, we like broke it down, talked about it, and then I would go from there. You got
like a free coaching session out of ET, huh?
I mean, yeah, a little bit in some regards. Yeah, it was really cool. He was a very nice player. Incredible, just an incredible match.
I didn't realize this was your game 2. I know we had talked about it, but I thought it was your game 3 or 4.
No, this was game 2.
Gotcha.
This was Hammer and Anvil with the Ritual. It was a tough matchup.
The Ritual was hard. Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah, 6 Sagittars was pretty tough.
They just look at something, delete it. Yeah, that's a cool model. You go ahead and pick that up and look at it.
But, you know, I had opportunities to win, and I just couldn't do it. And this was one of those moments where the 4-up invul save was real against the league. I just, a bucket of shots into the Great Unclean One, just couldn't keep it alive.
That's it. I mean, you're bound to fail. When you roll a bucket of dice, you're bound to fail.
Yeah, I was... That's my train of thought. Sorry.
You're good.
It was.
We'll edit. Take care of that in post.
Yeah, it was, like I said, just a very good game. Just couldn't keep up with the scoring. Ultimately, I ended up losing this match, 95-70. This was my biggest...
so you did pretty well against what would be considered a pro player.
Yeah, this was my biggest loss of the weekend. 25 points was my biggest loss.
Wow, that's incredibly impressive.
And
not to toot our own horns, but tear the mid tables.
Yeah, no, it was a great game, and this was the first game I ever played on a chess clock.
Really? How did that go? I mean, I know a lot of people swear by it, and some people absolutely hate it. And I personally, I'm trying to get better with playing on a chess clock because I want to be able to adapt to that. Because playing guard, I have to be conscious of how long my turns take. So I'm personally trying to better myself on playing with a chess clock. But being that they're like, hey, I want to play. What was your take on it?
So first, my opponent was very gracious. How he told me he plays on a chess clock was to track his events and stuff like that. And that if he had any extra time, that I was more than welcome to use it.
Oh, that's awesome.
Which was really cool. I never ran into that problem. I ended the game with about 20 extra minutes.
Oh, nice.
We both played very efficiently. I think we had 3-hour rounds, and I think we ended about 40-ish minutes early.
Oh, so you had plenty of time. Either that or you just tabled you that quickly.
It was a little bit of both.
That's fair.
I put up a good fight. I just didn't have a lot of answers towards the end. So like it was interesting. I never felt pressured though. Like I didn't feel like I was running out of time or anything like that. I just played my game, played smart. The biggest thing I can tell people if you do get chess clocked, just don't overthink your plan.
Yeah, don't let it get in your head. That was a hard thing for me too when I switched over to trying to play more on a chess clock was I got to worry about my time. If you just go, I mean, it is what it is. You're going to try to play the same no matter what. And if the chess clock makes you a little faster, awesome. That's just better on you. And if it doesn't, then you know where you kind of need to adjust.
Yeah. And like, this is where there was a particular instance. I didn't quite understand. Like I had a tough decision to make on how to do something with my obliterators to score a secondary. And when I shot, I meant to shoot at his like Terminator unit.
Yeah.
And then
is that the Hearthkin?
I can look at his list and tell you which one unit it is.
I think that's what the Hearth card.
Yeah, I believe it's the Hearth card.
Is there Terminators?
Like their Terminators. So I meant to shoot at them, trying to whittle them down a little bit, and then charge the Rhino with my obliterators, because if I blow up the Rhino, I get area denial.
Okay.
But whenever I was like trying to keep up with and stuff, I targeted the Rhino with the gun and blew up the Rhino, which then made me ineligible to make the charge to get area denial. And he was super nice and let me take it back.
That's
shoot the
awesome.
other unit, charge it. So I got my points, got to shoot the correct unit. Like it was like I said, very good game. You know, that's like a dream opponent.
Yeah, no, and that's one of the things, man. I have, and I'm going to, I guess, give them a little bit of a free sponsor or whatever. Sponsor us. But I have played, I've participated in the Vanguard Tactics Academy. And that is one of their biggest things is like, listen, we're trying to elevate the play here. You don't have to be a dick. You know, come in, fair play. If somebody makes a mistake, awesome. Let them take it back. They stress that all throughout it, and it's really nice to see that it's not just a marketing ploy that they were
translates to the
game. Yeah, that they were like, oh no, by all means, take it back. Let's see what we can do. Let's see if we can get you to score more points, or and make a better game about it, instead of just like that typical Warhammer opponent that you hear about, that everybody has that nightmare of like, well, no, you didn't lay out your intent. Sucks to be you.
Right.
So
that one, like I said, ultimately I ended up losing, but it was probably my favorite match of the weekend. And it was 95-70 to
gotcha.
Leagues of Votann. Match 3, which was the final day of day 1, was against
So we're at 6 hours of Warhammer working towards 9.
Yes. Yeah.
It's a lot of Warhammer in one day.
So day 1 was round 1 starts at 10, finish at noon. Was it 10? No, 10 to 1. Hour-long lunch break. Come back 2 to 5, 30-minute break, 5:30 to 8:30.
Oh, that's good. So they gave you a 30-minute break to be able to...
Yeah, even to just run to the bathroom, grab a water or something, which was really nice. This was against Necrons.
Okay.
This was my first Necron game.
Was this the new codex or the old codex? Or the index?
This is all codex now.
All codex now. So this is the boogeyman that is kind of what they've been talking about.
Yes. And so I played into this. This was a little bit of false hope coming up for my second. This list was drastically different from my second Necron game that I played. But I think the big thing was the difference between this list and the other list I played was this one was ready to play two 10-man units of Immortals.
Okay.
There was an FAQ dropped the day before cutoff, which made the FAQ legal.
Oh, no. Okay.
That changed the way one of the Connectic Court stratagems worked.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, what this did was it eliminated the Immortals from being targetable by this stratagem. And before it was changed, it was allowing Immortals to average, I want to say it was like close to 40 devastating wounds
Jesus
per
Christ.
turn.
That's ridiculous.
And so they changed it to where they could not be targeted, so they could not do the devastating wounds to that capability. And so it left a lot of Necron players kind of in a tough spot because it was the day before cutoff.
Yeah.
There's nothing they can really do about it.
I mean, they've already got their list pretty much built, painted,
painted. You know, at that point, you're basically getting them ready to go in the box.
Yeah. I mean, but unfortunately, you're looking at pre nerf Eldar levels of insane dev wound.
Right.
Production.
Yeah. And they were also the most represented faction at the tournament.
Oh, were they?
Yes, it was.
I mean, I guess it makes sense. They just had their codex drop. It's a very powerful codex.
Yes.
And I mean, I guess it makes sense. Did you see a lot of AdMech? Speaking of new codex.
I did not. They're not performing very well. I want to say they had the lowest win rate at LVO.
So much for the codex creep going into their favor.
It happens. Some people get bad codexes.
Listen, man, to have really good codexes, you got to be able to compare them to really bad ones.
Yeah.
But don't worry, AdMech, the data slate's coming.
But that game, it really came down to, I was just able to pick up the two big blocks of Immortals early.
Gotcha.
And then...
Did you win this one?
I did win this one. I won this one 95-49.
Okay.
And
another near perfect game.
This was, like I've said, this is where a lot of people thought the Great Unclean One was the MVP. The Great Unclean One tied up 2 units for 5 rounds.
Wow.
They would fall back. I would push up. They would fall back. I'd push up until I just had them pinned to where I was keeping them off of objectives so I could run things. And then eventually the Nightbringer came around and just started bodying things left and right. The other thing that won me this game, I personally believe I took an early lead because of getting rid of the Immortals and stuff with the Forge Fiends and stuff. My opponent, they played fixed secondaries.
Gotcha.
They played, I'll pull it up real quick. They played Assassinate and Deploy Teleport Homer.
I feel like Assassinate would be not very good against your army.
So my army has 5 characters.
Yeah.
And so like if you just kill all of them.
Yeah.
And the Nightbringer is terrifying.
Is it really that powerful? I've read that it's a stupidly powerful model.
It's real. With Connectic Court, when they're fighting in the mid board, as long as they control half of the AP, I want to say AP3, D6 plus 2 damage apiece.
Jeez.
It was like 5 or 6 attacks.
Uh-huh.
So like he's wounding the Great Unclean One on 3s.
Yeah. I mean, realistically, there's not much that you can do. I mean, there's only so many 4-ups that you can make.
Right. Well, and then like if you touch them into a unit of Chosen, each failed 6-up is a dead Chosen.
Yeah.
So like just very powerful. But because of the pressure that the Great Unclean One supplied and the Forge Fiends, so what made it possible, the Forge Fiend blew up a whole unit of Immortals. That's good. And then the big block of Chosen and the Demon Prince took care of the other block of Immortals in the same, they dual charged. And so I was just able to do that. And then once I had such a big lead and had his models on the far side of the board, the one thing about Nightbringer is he's like a 5 or 6 inch movement. So if you can stay away from him, he can't get to you. So whenever he did that, instead of just leaving my characters out in the open, I hid them all behind a building in my deployment zone. Gotcha. So like all my Chosen died, but the Chaos Lord was left with 2 wounds left. Able to scuttle away. I scuttled him behind a building. I wrapped the Demon Prince behind the same building and pushed the Blue Scribes into that building as well so that he couldn't see them, so he couldn't shoot them. Gotcha. And so that was one of those things where like I played well, but the gap was so big because I played to deny points versus trying to score points and just let the scoring happen naturally. Gotcha. I'd say you definitely scored naturally enough. Right. And I did enough and I did good. The only thing I missed was bring it down at the end, but I decided it was more important for me to hold the lead than to pull anything out to try to get those last couple of points.
Yeah. And I mean, if that's the case, if you've already holding on to a lead is going to win you the game, not necessarily trying to score as much points to your opponent as you can.
Right. And so that
as
was
weird as that sounds.
That was the end of day one. I ended day one 2-1, which felt good. The dream was 3-3 and we got there. But I just wanted one win.
That's it. Just that one win make you feel good.
You know, there's just a ton of amazing players there, so you never know what you're going to run into.
Yeah.
So that takes us to day 2, round 4. I played into Thousand Suns, which fortunately one of my best friends plays Thousand Suns.
So you got a lot of practice against Thousand Suns.
I have a lot of practice against them, and then also lots of conversation about Thousand Suns. So that helped a lot in this game. I think this game was decided because of two overextensions that my opponent made. The Umberlific Crystal, which lets you basically turn one deep strike.
Gotcha.
A 10-man unit of Terminators with a Sorcerer and Terminator armor into my backfield. They blew up the Rhino, which was big, but I was able to keep... I made some good saves, kept my big brick of Chosen alive, and then just turned the Forge Fiends. And this is where I was talking about the hazardous devastating was big. So a couple of things. I did 5 devastating wounds with the full fishing for rerolls with the Chaos Undivided. So it was 5 dead Terminators. But picked up the whole unit between it and the other Forge Fiend. But I have always joked with Jake that there's always a chance that I blow up my own Forge Fiend doing this, and that's why I don't do it often.
Yeah.
I roll 2 1s and a 2 for hazardous. So I take 6 mortals.
That felt good.
And then I roll my Dark Pact, and I fail.
Oh, no.
And I take 3 more mortals.
No.
I was 1 dice roll away from blowing up my own Forge Fiend.
Oh, man. So, nothing like having a model do more damage to itself than the opponent does to it.
Yeah.
Feels real good.
So, you know, there's give and take, but I mean, 5 just dying and not allowing the 4-up was huge.
Yeah, that's true.
So I was able to eliminate that and take care of it. The Chosen, with Advance and Charge, took care of Airman and his 5-man unit of Flamers. But the other big thing that I think really solidified the win was after he needed to make a play, he overextended Magnus, popped the Rhino with the 5-man unit.
This is your favorite part of that's happened.
Yeah, this is right here one of the 2 reasons why the Blue Scribes are my MVP. So he pops the Rhino with Magnus and shooting, charges them. The Chaos Lord goes crazy, does 12 devastating wounds to Magnus.
Oh my God.
So leaves Magnus on 4 wounds left. And on the swing back, I just got lucky. He only wounded 2 times.
Oh, really?
He rolled, I think, like 3 1s to hit. With just nothing to reroll. Yeah. And then rolled, I think, 2 1s to wound.
And so you just roll and you're like,
and so
screw me, I guess.
And so it was AP3. I think I either saved one or like both just died. And then I fell back out of combat because that Chosen can do that. Yeah. And then because he was within 6 inches of my Blue Scribes, I got to roll for mortal wounds. And I dealt 5 mortal wounds to Magnus. And blew up Magnus with the Blue Scribes.
Just like, oh. So, yeah, Magnus takes 5 mortals. Cool.
It feels sacrilegious that a Zinch demon took care of Magnus, but it is what it is.
Hey, man, change is everywhere. Sometimes you just got to change these hands into Magnus's face.
This opponent also was great to play against when he realized it was, I took care of so much so fast. Our favorite joke of the weekend was he had 2 Terminators left that needed an 11-inch charge into my 8 Chosen that were remaining. And he goes, fuck it, we ball, and rolls a 12.
Oh, shit.
Into him on the middle objective.
just that's it. We're going balls deep at that point.
Yeah. So also a great opponent, was a great guy.
Awesome.
and I ended up winning that one 94-50.
I forgot to ask, how was the Necron opponent?
My first Necron opponent was great. His dice were so good.
Oh, they were just hot.
So turn 1 and 2, his dice were so good. I was like, I'm about
Do we
to
need
put
to flush
these.
these?
Yeah, I was like, we need to check these in a toilet or something.
Can we just go ahead flush test these dice, make sure they're okay?
And then turn 3 happened, and it was like he just couldn't roll above a 2.
Oh, homeboy had my problem.
Yeah, like he was so Doomstalker, or I think they're called something. Maybe they're just called Doomstalkers.
Yeah,
they Overwatch on 5-ups, and
that's
he
disgusting.
was just like he would roll, and he gets free rerolls in his deployment zone, and he was just hitting like 7 or 8 on D6 plus 3. Hitting on 5s, we're just hitting 8. And I was like, oh God,
this isn't good.
And then he'd be like, into your chosen. I'm like, okay. And it would be like 2s to wound. And I was like, okay. and you know, like, I think he picked up, there was one turn, he picked up 6 chosen in Overwatch.
Jesus. That's so many chosen in Overwatch. That's a feel bad it's a feel great Overwatch if you're the Necron player.
But I also learned some things that game, like I could have done different. With some different stratagems and stuff to try to keep my survivability up.
Mm-hmm.
But regardless, like I said, I won that one. My second game, I won 94-50. The only thing that I missed.
This was the 94-50 was the Thousand Suns game, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, I didn't give myself this. Okay, so I guess it would have been 99-50.
Oh, sure. Add points now. It's fine. What's
I pulled Assassinate.
Points amongst friends?
I pulled Assassinate.
Oh, it killed Magnus.
No. I pulled Assassinate on turn 5, but when you play tactical, as long as all the HQs are dead,
Oh,
you have
yeah,
it.
that's right.
So it should have been 99, but that's fine. Like it's 5 points.
Yeah, what's 5 points amongst friends?
And then round 5, so I was feeling pretty good.
Hey, just think of it this way. Technically, you only needed to paint half your army that round.
Why?
It's 10 points for the painted. Da-da-da-da-da-da. Bad.
So then I was feeling pretty good. Like that was my third win.
Yeah.
So I was like, sweet.
You
Like,
got there.
I got what I wanted.
We're playing with house money at this
Now
point.
at this point, I'm like, all right, let's see if I can get 4 and 2. 4 and 2, just elated at that point, right?
Yeah.
So turn 5 or game 5, we're all upstairs in the hotel room eating lunch because we're not paying for lunch because it was crazy. So we're eating PB&Js and Pringles.
We'll get to that next.
And pairings go up about 30 minutes before lunch is over. And I was like, sweet, let me take a look. It's Eldari. And I'm like, okay, all right, maybe it's not bad. So I've seen some Eldari lists like at this point, and they haven't been horrible. And then I get triple Night Spinner, Wraithguard, Incarn, Fuegan, Altark.
Just everything that you just like. This is great.
Yeah.
This is fuck me, I guess.
And this was one of those games that you go in knowing you're not winning.
Yeah.
If you don't know what the Night Spinner does, D6 plus 3 shots plus blast. As long as it hits, no advance -2 to movement.
Ugh.
So there's nothing you can do. Incarn, everybody knows that one also. If a model dies in each phase, not once per turn, each phase, it can move within an inch of where that unit was.
Doesn't matter where it's on the board. If it dies,
as long as it's dead. 2 5-man units of Warp Spiders, 24-inch flicker jump, devastating wounds on flamers. So it's just 12d6 flamer shots.
I mean, I want to make fun of this person for playing a super meta, high-powered list, but can you blame him? It's LVO.
No, I get it. Like, I get it. And he was a great opponent. Like, he was like, I know. Like I got there and he was like,
he just walked in. He's just like, I know, dude. I know.
Like, he didn't even deny it. And I was like, all right, as long as we're on the same page, man.
That's it, dude. When you're just like, all right, I get it. I'm about to get my my Schmeat smacked.
Yep. And so,
like, all right, cool.
Turn 1 blows up a Forge Fiend with the Warp Spiders. Incarn on my objective, top of 1.
I must have fell. Just awesome.
Yep.
I don't know. I'm going to handle this.
So, fortunately, some things went my way. Big 6 with the blue scribes.
Did you ever used to play StarCraft when you were a kid?
No, I never played StarCraft.
So I used to play StarCraft. And especially StarCraft 2, one of the worst things that you could do is I played Terran because I'm a basic bitch, but Protoss, you could essentially skedaddle a probe up into your opponent's base and build a warp prism. And basically what you do is, because keep in mind, Eldari is just Protoss, you can then summon in zealots from that warp prism and just basically you just create as many as you can.
Gotcha.
And that's literally like, you just blow something up. Here comes the Incarn. It's essentially your warp prism spam.
So
cheese.
So what I did was that happened. He charged into the blue scribes. Did not kill them. I made 3 4-up invul saves.
Oh, my dude.
To keep them alive. Fought back. Blue scribes have anti-psyker 2-up.
Oh, I forgot about that.
So I think I like picked off like 3 wounds. Like I think
still.
So 3, like he just rolled 2 2s and a 1 and he made the other 2. So like 3 wounds there was big. Goes to my turn. Roll the big 6 to for mortal wounds because we're within engagement range.
Yeah, no,
do 5 mortal wounds. So now I've got 8 of the 12, and then I was like, I have to get rid of it. Slam the demon prince in, roll 10 dice, 5 mortal wounds, pick up the Incarn.
Oh, I bet you that felt fantastic.
It did feel good, but with all that happening, the Night Spinners blew up the rhinos.
Gotcha.
And so my chosen were stuck in my deployment zone all game.
Gotcha.
And so like that is the only thing that was like mild. Well, it was frustrating. Like I think anybody can attest to the game becomes uninteractive at that point.
Yeah. And guys, keep in mind too, we are talking, this is day 3?
Day 2.
Day 2?
It's a 2-day event.
Okay.
Yeah.
So day 2, you've already played 12 hours
right
of Warhammer. Okay.
Right.
Just do me a favor. Go play 12 hours of Warhammer and don't get frustrated. If you do, guess what? You're getting a Nobel Peace Prize for that.
Right. And so, so that was frustrating. I tried to get my obliterators into position to try to help with a couple things. I didn't realize the Autark and Fuegan both are models that come back to life on a 2-up.
I did not know that.
Fuegan has a flat 6 damage melt a gun.
Oh shit.
It's like 6 damage melt a 6 or something crazy like that.
Oh my God. That is.
He walks it up 25 millimeter base because it's like from 4th edition.
So you can't block it out within an inch of a wall. It's just like, oh, that's cool.
It's just there.
I'm an inch outside the wall. Great.
Yeah,
let me show you what I'm about to do.
So
those models are pretty. Pick them up.
He walks around the corner and goes, "I'm within 12 inches of your rhino." Boom, and just blows it up one shot. I was like, "Good talk." And
it feels great.
So I kill him with the obliterators. Comes back to life. Blows up my obliterator.
Just walks over and be like, "Hey, I heard you were talking shit."
Yeah, pretty much.
Cast fist.
Yeah. Well, so what was scary was he blew up one with the gun, charged in, and he's got like a flat 4 damage in combat.
I can literally hear the obliterator, like he blows up the rhino, the obliterators kill him, gets back up. Nani?
Yeah, man. It was something, but it is what it is. There's a data slate coming. We can all hope for the best. Like I said, but the other thing though, and I will say this, like, although like it was a very strong list and that list is very broken, my opponent was not rude by any means. He
didn't flaunt it, didn't anything like that.
No. It was just like, like we played, we both understood what was going to happen. I think he ended up going 5-1.
An ass whooping is a lot easier to take when you know it's coming.
Right. He ended up going, I think 5-1.
Oh, good for him.
His only loss was the mirror.
That's an Eldar thing.
Yeah. He also ran into triple Night Spinner, and so it was just who's going to roll better.
That's it. It is a dice game, and at that point, it is what it is.
I got it in here. I think so. I couldn't remember how we got it all at the end, but in here I've got it that I lost 65-56, but I know I had 4 points somewhere, so I ended up losing 65-60.
Oh, okay.
And so it was basically like, if I'm not going to the top 16, I'm taking you down with me.
Yeah, it's like that old video. You ain't getting no sleep or if I ain't getting no sleep because you ain't getting no sleep because of me.
Yeah. And so, it was a really great game again. Cannot stress enough that, all of my opponents were great.
That's awesome.
And then, we finished that game probably an hour early.
Well, yeah, when you're just picking up models.
It was just dev wounds. Like,
yeah, it's dev wounds.
I did what I could. But My last game, so another break. We're at what, 15 hours played at this point.
Yeah. 15 hours of Warhammer, playing Eldar.
Yeah.
And Necrons and just all the top meta.
And so my final game was also Necrons.
Okay.
This list, very different than the list I played previously. They ran all 4 Catans.
Really?
And they are nuts.
Yeah. I mean, Catans are...
half damage, 4 up invul, 5 up field pain.
That's fine. They just live.
T11, 12 wounds.
Jesus Christ.
And reanimating.
Oh, that's good. On 2-ups. Yeah, just that's fine. We're just here.
Reanimator running around doing double reanimates on anything within 6 inches. Wraiths were, besides the Catan, sorry.
Whatever. Tomato.
The Wraiths showed up in both units. I don't know if you guys know what Wraiths are. They're like these really like spindly looking, scarabby, like big scarab looking things. Mm-hmm. 4 wounds apiece.
No, I'm thinking, yeah, Necra. Are those like the, you've seen War of the Worlds, right?
Mm-hmm.
The big tripod walker thingies, you know,
No, those tripod walker things, those are the Doomstalkers.
Gotcha. Okay.
These things, they just kind of look like a floating bug. That's the best way I can describe it.
Fair enough.
They're T6, 4 up invul, 5 up feel no pain.
God, they're cockroaches.
Yeah, and they're beasts. So
they go through walls.
Yep, and they fly. So
they're palmetto bugs.
Yes,
they're
yes.
Necron palmetto bugs.
Yeah, they are your worst nightmare. Very, very strong list. Just could not chew through the wounds. Mm-hmm. Super survivable. Rerolling to hit.
Did it have a lot of recursion and stuff like that and reanimate?
Yeah, reanimate. Like I couldn't eat through the wraiths enough. And then this game on top of it, there were a couple of like moments that I'm sure we were both tired. The sportsmanship was not
there
to the highest of quality. And I would probably say on both ends. I mean, you're 15 hours deep.
Yeah, you're just, the last thing you want to do is roll another loss dice.
On top of it, we're playing within points of each other the entire game.
Yeah. So it's not like you can turn your brain off and just enjoy the game.
Right.
You're having a fight. Because it's so close.
Right. It's a slog the entire game. And so this was also the first game that I felt in the entirety of playing Chaos Space Marines, my Dark Packs potentially won him this game.
Really?
I killed both units of Obliterators with Dark Packs.
Ouch.
And a Forge Fiend.
Ouch.
In 2 turns.
Were they subsequent turns?
Yeah, I lost I lost 1 unit of Obliterators turn 3, and then lost the Forge Fiend and a unit of Obliterators turn 4.
Ouch. Gotcha.
And it was because I was in a position where I knew it was possible, but I was also in a position where I needed to make a play to try to keep. I was at like a 5-point lead.
Oh, so it was.
So basically what was happening was it was going to my turn and I would have a 5-point lead, and it would go to his turn and he would have a 1-point lead. And then I would have a 5-point lead, and then he would have a 2-point lead. And so like we kept bouncing back and forth, and it was on priority targets, which meant that at the end, I knew he had more units than me. He was getting those 15 points at the end.
Yeah.
And so I was just trying to deny, and I needed to make a play. And, it happens. It's a 6-up dice roll. You have good shot, but, every once in a while. They were alive on 3 wounds, and I rolled a 6 on the D3, so nothing I can do about it.
It happens.
That's the first time, though, I don't know, I've probably played close to 60 games with the Chaos Space Marines, and that's the first time I've ever felt like the Dark Packs
betrayed you.
Betrayed me, yeah.
The gods are fickle, dude.
Yeah.
The gods are fickle, especially the dice gods.
So it then came down to like 1 dice roll, or not a dice roll. It came down to a secondary that was kind of questionable whether I could get it or not. And I just decided that I was exhausted.
Sanity is not worth the win.
It could have gone either way. And I was like, man, you got it. Like, I'm just exhausted.
Listen, man, sometimes as much as it is you want to fight to win, sometimes you just need to not take the L, but
it was the end of the day. I was happy with 3-3.
Yeah.
I ended up losing 88 to 87. I played a good game. I had plenty of opportunities to make sure that it didn't come to that.
Yeah.
And just didn't execute. So 3-3 was my final list, and I'm happy with it.
Hey, that was the goal. 4-2 would have been fantastic, but listen, you got to set a realistic goal. And 3-3, well, winning one was the realistic goal with the hopes, but going 3-3 at LVO, some of the best players in the world, you can't be upset about that.
Yeah, and like I said, I think I said before, I ended up 302nd out of, I think there were 1,100 players that signed up.
Yeah, and I mean, you figure you are in the top third of best players in the world.
Yeah, so it was super exciting, and I'm looking forward to obviously more big events. This is what I love going to big events. I think I've been to 2 of them now. We went to the Open, and we played narrative. But next year,
we are
more competitive side of things now.
No, that's fair enough. But so yeah, those were all the matches. 3-3, went over everything like that. I'd say played a damn good tournament.
Yeah, I was pleased with my performance. Obviously, you want to go winning record, but I'd never been to anything that more than 40 players, I think.
Yeah.
And so I'll take 3-3 all day.
Yeah. So there's the lists. Next up, we're just going to be talking about LVO as a whole and recommendations and what to avoid and what to do.
Yeah. So we got there. The tournament started Friday. We got there Wednesday evening.
Okay. Was that enough time?
Yeah, because then also because coming from here, it's a 3-hour time change.
Oh yeah, that is true.
So that first night, I think we were up to 2-3 in the morning because that's midnight for us here. So it helped us kind of acclimate a little bit. And then it gave us Thursday to really just kind of explore. We went to early registration, got to walk around and stuff like that.
The 3-mile long line it
was a very long line for early registration. But yeah, we went and did that. We went and shopped around. We stayed at the Rio where the convention was, which was fun. And that's where most people stay.
Yeah.
We went to early registration.
Okay.
And that was on Thursday, and it took us most of the evening. And then I went to previews that night.
Okay.
Which was a lot of fun.
How was the previews? Was it pretty, was everybody really ecstatic with everything that came out? Or was there a lot of mixed emotions? Or
I think for the most part, everyone's pretty excited. I was a little let down as a 40K player just seeing Kroot. I was hoping for Emperor's Children, but, wishful thinking.
They're coming at the end, dude. When, listen, every Chaos L brings back a new Primarch.
So that was, the previews were fun.
Now you did get a cool little souvenir that came with the previews.
Yeah. So for going to the previews, you got a GW tarot card. And there's a whole set of tarot cards that you're supposed to try to collect. And I don't know why, but they said if you do collect all of them to come see a GW representative. I don't know what that means. They didn't disclose anything.
Do you go to a store? Do you wait until...
I'm not sure. That's all they said, a GW representative.
That's cool. Now the hunt is on.
Right, the hunt is on. So that was fun. Then Friday and Saturday, we were just eating up with playing in the tournament.
Yeah, no,
exhausted, just laying around in the evening.
Just hating. You're just done. You're just I'm done. I ain't doing nothing. I'm just resting my eyes.
Yep. And then Sunday, since we weren't in the top 8, which honestly, kudos to those guys for 3 more rounds, and the shadow round on day. So, shadow round day 2 started at 9. So you played from 9 to midnight, and then got up for the top 8 the next day.
Fuck that.
Yeah. So kudos to those guys.
Yeah. But that's why they're world-class players, man.
Absolutely. But we went and just enjoyed the actual convention.
Okay.
It wasn't super huge, but there was lots of vendors, and there were lots of content creators there. So
cool.
I met Adrian from Tabletop Titans.
Oh, nice.
Super great guy. And I believe it was his wife and one of the other girls that are on the show. They were there. They were all incredible. I met Duncan Rhodes.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, he was so nice.
He is a founding pillar of the painting community in my eyes, from all his different tutorials and things like that he does. It's just fantastic.
Oh yeah. So yeah, I met him, and again, awesome guy to meet. Asked questions, looked at pictures of my army.
Oh really?
Yeah, he was just super great guy.
Did you go check out the Two Thin Coats?
Yeah, that's where I saw.
That's where you saw Duncan at.
Yeah,
I don't know if you saw him like just walking around or if you met him.
No, he was pretty much at his booth like the entire weekend.
Gotcha. Did you check out any of the paints or anything like that?
I mean, like they had their stuff there. I've used them before.
Gotcha. I know they're fixing to launch their next expansion on their paint set. So,
Oh, are they?
yeah.
Um,
Did you get any cool models?
yeah, I met. Before I get into the models, I did meet one other creator. His name is Kenny from the Long War podcast.
Oh, okay.
I've been a longtime follower of his painting. Like he was one of those guys that I watched at a young age and was like, this dude's incredible. So it was really exciting.
That's how I am
meet
with
him.
Duncan Rhodes. I just following him from when my first model that I painted, I followed a tutorial that he did just so that way I could learn how to paint miniatures. And since then it's like, I watch all his videos just because it's nice and centered around teaching.
Right. And then model wise, I picked up a creature caster model.
Oh, okay.
To paint. It's called the Hunter. And it's basically, it looks kind of like a witch hunter.
Oh, that's cool.
And then it comes with, you can either make him like on a 32 mil or you can put him on like a 50 mil, they're not called dynamic bases, but they're,
like a display base.
Thank you, a display base. And it's him. He's got one hand shooting like a zombie.
Yeah.
And the zombie is falling back, and like the gun smoke is going through its head.
Oh, that's cool.
And then the other one is like a zombie crawling up over to him, and he's pointing his gun like down at an angle, like he's about to shoot them in the head as well.
Oh, that's cool. You could probably, I know you don't really play OS, but if you get into it, there is Hexbane's Hunters and the Van Dents that you could proxy that model for if you wanted to.
Yeah. I probably will keep it on the big base because you only get one or the other.
Oh, okay.
And,
so then, yeah.
I just want him to, it's going to be a passion project just to have at the house.
Are you going to put that with your, next to your Princess Peach, the one that you did with the zombie Princess Peach?
Probably so, something dorky.
Yeah.
But it was a really cool model. They had lots of like used models. Frontline Gaming had like their whole secondhand store there.
Oh, wow.
Which was pretty cool. I just didn't find anything that I was really looking for. I have always wanted the old original Dark Apostle.
Oh, okay.
And they did have one, but I didn't realize how small it was.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like it was on a 25 mil.
Oof.
And it showed that it was a 25.
Yeah,
so I didn't even think if I built it up, I could get it up to where it needs to be now.
Yeah. Did they have any cool of the old metal guard models?
No, they didn't really have anything like that. And then the GW store was much smaller than like at the open.
Gotcha.
So like they didn't really have any Forge World stuff or anything. The only thing I was kind of bummed I missed out on was they had purity seals that could like go onto backpacks. And they had a Grey Knight one the first night. And I was like, oh, I kind of want that. And I was like, but I'll wait and come back because I figured they had a ton of them. And that was like the only one. So I missed out on that. So I'll be looking for that at like the next big event we go to.
That'd be cool, especially for your Grey Knights army. If you
that was the main reason.
Yeah, that's fair.
But they had some other they had some cool stuff. There's also like, they have a pin set of Nurglings. And you try to collect all the different Nurgling pins. That was kind of cool. They had like,
do they have the sassy Nurgling?
No, they're all like, they're all just kind of like standing there kind of goofy, but they're all different colors.
Oh, okay.
So you have to try to hunt down the different colored ones. And they only had like 2 or 3 of them. So like you go to different events to try to find them, which was cool.
Yeah, I gotcha.
The one thing that was there that I thought was really cool was they had a Smaug model for Middle Earth. And I didn't know that model existed.
I kind of want to try playing Middle Earth. I hear it's fun.
I'd probably try it. It's got a lot of the rules of Warhammer Fantasy. And so, I would probably try it for like nostalgia's sake.
Okay.
But the Smaug model was just massive. And I was like, man, I don't know how I'm getting it home to Florida.
Right. Yeah. You'd have to UPS it.
Right. But,
it was your luck to get there before you did.
Right. But I think that's pretty much it.
Okay, cool. So let me ask you this. So you did have a small budget to go on. For the potential person that was looking to go to LVO, realistically speaking, how much money do you think it would cost to go to get their bare minimum? Let's say you're going with a group of guys, a bunch of your friends are going. The extreme bare minimum, you're eating PB&J and begging on the street for water cups. You go, you definitely have to be conscious of whatever you spend on and be careful. Like, we're probably eating McDonald's, maybe ordering, going to dinner maybe once a night. And then you're going to have fun.
Okay. So, so the reason like the budget was so tight was it was very last minute that I was given the opportunity to go. So like bare minimum, is this just like the money you would need there, or is this including the plane ticket and all that stuff?
I would say the money that you need there. Obviously, the plane ticket's going to vary. This is assuming that you've bought your plane ticket, you've got your ticket to go. Somebody that wants to just, the good time money, because obviously your plane ticket's going to be anywhere from $200 to $300. If you're going with a group of guys, your hotel's going to be anywhere between $300 to $400. Hopefully, you've got enough people. Realistically, you're looking at about $1,000 for your hotel because you want to stay there at least 4 or 5 nights. So I would say just the money to go play, get food, enjoy your time, maybe a little spending cash, and eat. Because I know, as we were talking, Las Vegas is just stupidly expensive.
Yeah, it was very expensive. If you're gonna go budget, we DoorDashed groceries to the hotel room to cut down on things like I said, we did PB&J and Pringles.
There you go.
We got I think we paid for like 10 Gatorades to try to keep us a little bit hydrated after a long day.
A little vascular.
You could probably, and if you were going out to dinner one night and you're not doing anything crazy, like if you're just going out an
Not
average
going to
meal,
Caesar's Palace.
yeah, if you're just going to get like a burger down in one of the restaurants at the Rio, you're probably going to pay like $30
Okay.
per meal. So if you do that every night, and then the PB&Js and stuff, and you don't bring any like fun money,
What's fun money?
You could probably get through the entire thing for about $300.
Okay.
And $300 probably, like if you budgeted right, you could still go pick up yourself a little something to take home as like a memento.
Okay.
If you're wanting to do like all the bells and whistles, probably close to probably $1,000 to $1,200.
Okay.
I'm not a big gambler and I'm not a big drinker.
Nah, gambling and drinking should be its own
so
budget.
Like if that is something that is, you're like, I'm going to Vegas, I want to do those things, then I would say budget accordingly. But $1,200 would get you like, you get to go to Caesar's Palace one night. You get to go out and get a really nice meal somewhere else. You go and get to hit all the things in Las Vegas.
Yeah, check the boxes, go through.
Yeah, but that's like obviously case to case. You know, some people like to do other things like that than others. We did end up finding like a place you could eat a little bit cheaper in the Rio. We didn't find it till the last day.
Yeah,
those meals, instead of being like 30 to 40, were running us like 15 to 25.
Okay, so like a reasonable eat out, like
they were more like
budget bees and all that stuff.
Yeah, these places were more like a fast food style instead of everything being like sit down and stuff. So it's definitely not a cheap trip. You can make it happen on a budget and in a pinch.
Well, you did it.
Yeah, and I would go again. I don't know if it's something like I need to do every year.
Yeah.
But like I've got a big group of friends that have not been yet and they want to go.
Me included.
I would want to go with them, kind of show them around so they don't make the same mistakes that we made trying to figure out how to work our way through Las Vegas while we're there.
Gotcha. So, I mean, that's cool. So you'd say $300 for the bare minimum.
Yeah. And that's, no splurge money.
Yeah.
You're eating, we ate Pop-Tarts for breakfast.
So you'd say for the nice middle ground, probably about $700-800 maybe.
Yeah. Like if you're not like egregious with your spending, you could easily do it.
Okay.
I still personally recommend PB&Js or something, for it because it's going to save you so much money on lunch. And also, like, you don't want to eat heavy when you're standing in a big convention center with 1,100 people playing.
That's bad. Just walking around, your stomach's doing that.
Yeah, and you don't. And it was like, so the convention center is in the Rio, and we were still probably close to half a mile away, like a walk from our hotel room. And that's like elevator to the convention center was half a mile. And we were doing that 5-6 times a day.
Wow.
So like we were putting the steps in. So like,
got your miles.
Yeah. If you're going to be walking like that, you definitely don't want to be weighted down by a lot of heavy
some
food.
greasy burgers and street fries.
But I think that that's pretty much it. Like, and if you want to go out, there's ample opportunity to go out. I'm not a big go out guy, so I mostly just hung out in the Rio. We went and walked the strip for a little while one night. Things to be aware of, like, so next year we want to go to Caesar's Palace. It's like, buffets to me are like $20. Yeah, get what you want.
Infinite steak.
Non-steak and lobster night at was like $54.99.
Wow.
I think like Saturday was like $79.99.
Damn.
So just be prepared. Like, those are the kinds of prices. Drinks, if you want to add a drink to your meal, it's not $3.
Yeah.
It's $8. So like, we drink a lot of water.
Yeah. Water's free, right, guys?
Yeah. I was like, if you charge for ice, take it out. Like, just.
I'll take my water warm, thank you.
Yeah. So, like I said, it was a great time. I had a good time being there with my brother and my friends. I would go again, just more prepared. I'll be more prepared this time than I was last.
Yeah, because you had what, a week to prepare to go to this?
5 days.
5 days.
Yeah.
There you go. You got the work week to prepare.
I got called at midnight on Wednesday that there was an opportunity for me to go. I locked in my plane ticket Friday, and we left Wednesday morning.
Let's go.
So, like I said, I was just in a particular place where I was able to do that, and I was very fortunate. But it was a lot of fun. Mm-hmm. And if it is something you're considering,
start saving
now. If you don't want to play in the 40K Champs big tournament, there are tons of RTTs that go on Sunday. Mm-hmm. So you could just really enjoy Vegas and then Sunday play. Different things you can do like that. Like Sergio Calvo did a big painting,
like tutorial
master
session.
Class and stuff like that.
I know Vanguard Tactics, they do their whole,
they
class
do
they do though.
They do that Thursday night before. Mm-hmm. So there's definitely stuff to do that isn't just the 40K tournament at the convention center. It's not, you know what I mean? Like, you don't have to.
It's not just solely centered around 40K. There's all different types of things going on.
Right. But I think that's pretty much it for us here today.
That sounds good. So 0 to 10, how would you rate your experience? Matches included, everything like that.
I'd probably give everything a 7.
Nice 7 out of 10.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Something I would do again. And I think that the experience will go up.
As you think back on it?
Not even as I go next year, knowing what to expect.
That's fair.
And being more prepared. That's the big thing, just being more prepared.
Yeah. So look forward to next year talking about this as we both get to go to LVO and we both get to play.
Yeah, absolutely. And
I think that's it for our LVO episode.
Yeah. Make sure if you guys would take the opportunity to give us a 5-star review on wherever you get your podcasts and start looking. We're going to start trying to post these on YouTube as just audio videos for the time being, if that's how you receive your podcast as well. And make sure to like and subscribe there. I think that's...
besides that, everybody have a wonderful, wonderful day.
Yeah. And as always, make sure to be you and be kind. We'll see you guys later.
See you later.